They will teach you all of this, and then you will land a job which is 15 LP or 25 LP or a job in the US. It is no short of a scam, guys.
Yeah.
There is no way you can learn all of that in 6 months and get a job.
As Nick Fury of the Avengers once said, we have to be prepared for the world that is and not the world you want it to be.
Expect fewer roles to come to your campus.
Chase the adjacency and then find your way.
This question is related to your DSA point. Right? Do you think that traditional path of learning DSA, web dev, Android is still relevant, or that needs an update? Like a student who is preparing for his software engineering interviews coming in August and September, should they start with DSA or not? Is that no longer required?
Fair enough. I think as Nick Fury of the Avengers once said, we have to be prepared for the world that is and not the world you want it to be. So even though the people who are hiring, they might catch up to it in some point that DSA is not enough. I don't expect everybody to have moved in today. So if you need a job come August, you need to prepare how people have prepared for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So your DSA better be sharp.
Yeah.
Right. Go for the basics. It's not rocket science. It's just tedium, some toil. Go through it, figure it out. But start getting used to the new way of working, because once you do get in, and you will get in, it is important to do good work.
Yeah.
And that is where being able to use the tools, the new age tools comes in. So yes, prepare with DSA, but that's only to get through the interview.
Yeah.
It is not going to be something you do every day. Every day is going to be Claude. Get used to how to work with Claude.
My view is slightly different than yours on this, because I think yes, DSA is important today, but I also think it's going to be important 2 years hence. And the reason I say that is, it's a great way to understand how to look at a problem, then break it down, and then try to apply whatever you have learned so far, right? Like let's say it's a dynamic programming problem that I have to solve. Me just knowing its solution is not enough. Like how did people arrive at that solution is more important. So knowing about, like, I wouldn't chuck DSA out the window as yet.
Absolutely.
A, it is easy to start with, and B, it gives you those basic tools of asking the right questions, of let's say breaking down the problem. Like I cannot tell you exactly how finding a cycle in a linked list helps me today, but it has definitely helped me understand or break large problems into smaller chunks and then solve for one thing specifically.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that is getting to the fact that we will use our processes in understanding data structures on a daily basis, right? So that is absolutely right. So you will have to understand how those principles apply. But if you're talking about preparing for interviews, right, it is usually not just that the ones that are actually useful get rote learned. You will also find people reading up about Bloom filters and getting asked those questions, right? So those things, even though they're not useful, I feel that you should prepare for it for August. But at the same time, the more important thing is going to be the newer age things. It's important to understand that we are here in June and August is coming. Some people who are hiring might start asking questions that are more rooted in how AI works, and we don't know what that's going to be like. So if you want to be prepared, you have to do kind of both. It is a tough time, but it's similar to how in our first year at college we were doing CAD in SolidWorks while we were also doing hand-drawn sketches. So it is just an anachronism, but it is how
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah, but if you are a college student who is preparing for the upcoming interviews in the next 6 months, do make sure that you are also practicing building things given an hour or 90 minutes. You need to know, like, start with any particular tool which is web only, like Figma Make or Lovable or Emergent or anything similar. But if you have your laptop, install Claude Code or install Codex or Open Code, anything that you can get your hands on, and build small stuff, because we know that this is how your companies, your employers are going to evaluate you during the interviews, and this change might come sooner than we imagine. And so that's something that people should think about. Taking another question from the students, I am a 2026 grad. I have made 250 plus applications and almost no callbacks.
Oh.
Should I now take a non-tech job or keep waiting?
250 applications and no callbacks. That is interesting and a tough place to be, actually.
I'll give you an insight, like, because Superset has been doing campus placements for a decade. The insight that we have had in the last 12 months is the number of roles, the average number of roles per, or average number of positions per company is reducing year on year, while their average compensation is increasing, right? So with that insight, and also a view into campus placements of all campuses across tier 1, tier 2, geography, north and south, what we are seeing is the competition for the same number of roles and positions is going to increase, right? Because like I was saying earlier, for people who were good builders but were sort of restricted by their knowledge of code, are no longer restricted. So it's easier for them to showcase their skills to the companies. And companies, at least now, are thinking that they will need fewer people. We don't know how this will pan out in the next 2-3 years, but at least this year, expect fewer roles to come to your campus. That itself is going to increase the competition. Right. And coming to this example, he has done 250 applications and no callback. I'm assuming that this is off campus, because if you are in campus and 250 companies are anyway coming, so you getting no shortlist out of those campus placements, it's a little difficult.
Surprising, right?
Yeah, it's surprising, but I think this is mostly 250 applications off campus for a 2026 grad, and no callbacks would be because you are applying through online job boards, and a lot of these job boards have just dead posts, right? They are just made because it is compliance to post it on the job board, because you have already filled it internally or something like that. So you can square off at least 10% of such job posts. But yeah, I think this is mostly public job boards and people are applying to that.
Yeah.
So question is, like, I am trying to get a software engineering role, but I'm not getting it. I don't have callbacks. As of now, I do have an offer, but it's a non-tech role or slightly tech role, but not a developer role. Should I take that or should I keep waiting?
That is a tough spot to be in. And I think based on what you just talked about, which is that the number of jobs itself is on the decline while the compensation is increasing, it does tell me that this particular individual might have an even tougher time in months to come, right?
Yeah.
So if you have an opportunity to go for a non-tech position, I would say go for it, because any job is better than no job at all, right? A, from a mental health perspective, B, from picking up skills perspective, right? So there are some aspects of your job which are transferable, some aspects of your job which are not. So just being able to figure out how to write an email, for example, right? That is something you can learn at any job. How do I speak to customers who are not part of the company, right? That's a skill that you can pick up on any job. So there are these, you should think of any job as a platform and not simply a way to get a salary. So that platform will lead to better opportunities, but you have to start getting into the process so that you are coming across as a professional. Your the applications you send now after getting even a non-tech job are going to change dramatically, because now you are inside. You know what counts. You know what matters. And depending on the kind of company you're getting into, you might also have access to a wider range of mentors. So imagine if I'm getting into a tech support role at a very large company, and there are developers there are engineers there, I can actually start getting mentorship also. It has to mean that I do my current job well, but it is, like I said, a platform which you can use to as a stepping stone to get to what you really want to do. And I think a lot of us have had to do that. That the first job you get is not going to be as glamorous as what you had thought. It will not give you all the satisfaction you wanted, or all the thrill you wanted, but it takes time to build that out and start from a position of having leverage, which I think is always the case if you are doing slightly better off than you were before. So onwards and upwards, I think just go for it.
My answer to that is, do take that job if it is not very much far off from where you want to land. Somehow, like it's it's analogous to you getting somehow an entry into that club, as long as that is the club that you want to be in. Right? Maybe your role is very different, but it is the same environment. It's the same gyan that we get, that even if it is a less popular branch, but get into an IIT rather than going to another college, because the network and the mentorship and the kind of people that you interact with changes. So yeah, I think it's the same gyan. If it is very removed, that you want to end up in technology, but you are going to a media company as a journalist, sure, that's something that I'd
be very surprised if that were to happen. But
yeah, that's
chase the adjacency and then find your way. That makes sense.
Cool. Next question. Should a fresher invest in a Gen AI course? And by invest, I'm assuming that the fee of this course is north of 20,000.
I think invest is a strong word, given the kind of AI courses I've seen. I don't think they're useful. I think the way to use a tool is to just use the tool. Right? Imagine if I had a course to use a hammer. It doesn't make sense. It is that easy. So you start one day with using ChatGPT for something. You'll find yourself doing almost every decision. You'll run by it. I have seen people who are fairly, senior in the sense that senior citizens, and they are hooked onto what they consider the LLM to be a part of their day, right? Wow. It is that easy. It is that easy to get started, and I think it is that easy to understand what is being done. Now, if you were to understand how do I become a software engineer, and there was a course teaching you how to do that using AI, then sure, that sounds like a better thing to do. But if there are just courses that promise to teach you AI, I think that will not add a lot of value, and paying for that when the LLMs themselves, the access to them is so cheap, I think is unnecessary. I would just recommend try it out. Try out the LLMs themselves. If you find trouble, if you find spots that you're not able to understand, talk to others in your network who are using it. That will be a far better, way to get to the truth than anything else. Like I think we all remember, like in our college days, oftentimes what the professor says is not something you can understand at all. But when your friend explains it to you, you're able to comprehend much better. So use that kind of a network effect. There are people in your college who can use these tools really well. Just find them, pepper them with questions, and I think that'll make you a much better. That's a much better investment.
Absolutely.
That's my perspective. Do you see it differently? I mean, I might have been
correct. The Gen AI courses, if the answer remains the same, if they are trying to teach you how to use Claude Code to build something, I would say save your money, do it yourself. There are enough resources on YouTube to do that. If someone is saying for whatever amount of money they are going to teach you transformers and fine tuning and then RAG optimization, if I'm just saying if that could also be a course, and if they are saying in 6 months they will teach you all of this and then you will land a job which is 15 LP or 25 LP or a job in the US, it is no short of a scam, guys. There is no way you can learn all of that in 6 months and get a job. At the same time, you would not be able to do without that course. So if you are to get that, you will get it anyway, right? That course is not going to help anyone, in my opinion. And when we say AI engineering, you don't have to know how transformers work, right? To be able to drive a car, you don't need to know how, or you don't need a skill of building an ICE engine, right? So that's my take on it. Like all these courses which are saying that we'll get you a high paying job because we'll teach you how transformers work. To be honest, I've been doing this for 15 years and my knowledge of this is also very superficial, right? But where you and I both day in and day out work with these technologies and then fine tune them and then see where, like, we are able to see where they are limited at the moment, right? But I would say that remains my take for young engineers, that do not waste time with these courses. What would be great is take a problem which you can relate with and then solve for it. And if you don't have a problem with your, let's say, your life, take a problem in any of the family members' life and then solve for it. For example, let's say your mother finds it difficult to order online on an app, then you can make a very small solution where you take the voice notes of like of a WhatsApp or any other app, and then use an MCP server to call any of these quick commerce apps, and then create a cart, and then all she needs to do is pay. Right? If your dad runs a shop, he would have like hundreds of problems in accounting, in stock management, because there are like large companies don't care about these small shops, right? So if your dad runs a shop like that, you can solve a lot of problems for him, and that will give you so much insight into building products. So if you have something which can be solved using a small product, build that. That is going to give you so much more knowledge than a 50,000 rupees course.
100%.
Yeah, and none of these, like the only other value that a course has is a certificate that gives you at the end of it. And if it's not a big enough brand, that certificate is next to nothing, right? So my take on that is very, very.
That makes sense, and I think I want to just ponder on it for one more minute maybe. So the reason I imagine people would go for these courses is because they find it hard to understand how to get started, right? And seeing an empty sheet of paper in front of you is always hard. But that is what these tools solve in the first place, right?
Absolutely.
So instead of going for that 50K course, I would rather say open up ChatGPT and say I want to learn what this let's say the AI course promises that it will deliver you XYZ kind of results. Just say I want to get XYZ results, build a week by week plan for me. So that I can get to it, and cite your sources, give me a curriculum that I can use, and show me how to do it. The answer you get there is going to be so much more personalized, so much more ready to use than what you'll get there. So starting from an empty slate, starting from a blank sheet of paper, I think that's a thing of the past.
My colleague puts it in this way. This is the first technology which can tell itself, like tell you how to use it.
Exactly, right? It is, which is why I'm saying that it is so easy, because it will coach you along. There is no onboarding, there is no walkthrough, there is no tutorial. You just open that, say hi, and see what happens. Right? And I think the best way to learn AI, and this is what we're doing every day at work, is to use AI to get better at doing that stuff. So just fire up the app on your phone and see what happens.